Okay, I am going to show you the proper way to shuck a lobster. I've already done one lobster, and as you can see, we're going to shuck it to where you get every single piece of the lobster, even the body. So many people leave the body, they just eat the tail or they just eat the claws, but I'm going to show you how to get the most out of your lobster. So to start off with, to prep, I like to use a plate with edges on it to capture the liquids. I usually have a whole roll of paper towels. Not that I use the whole roll, but it's good to have something. Nutcrackers and a pick. Now sometimes you will need a mallet or a hammer for the claws, but these particular claws, because I just already did one lobster, didn't require a hammer. So I start off with the swimmers. So the swimmers are these little guys here on the side. And these just twist right off. You just twist them off. Now the way to eat these is you just break them in half like this, and you just suck on the ends of them. Now sometimes when you open it up, you can get a big piece to come out. And that's what happened a couple of times, and I use that in the bisque. So again, you just twist them off, snap them in half. Oh, this has a really good piece that just came out, so I'm going to add that one to my bisque. All right, so that's the swimmers. The next, you start with the claw, and again, you're going to twist. So when you twist, that claw is going to come right off from the body. Again, twisting is the action that is going to open up everything on the lobster. So I find the joint between the claw itself and the actual digit there, and I twist. Now I've just got kind of the straighter part, well, not the straighter part, but the longer part of like the leg. So again, I twist, break, twist, break. So you can use a picker to go through, but I use my fingers. So I use my pinky usually, and I just push through to get the meat out. Yum. So of course there's, you know, a shucker tax that has to be paid once in a while. Yum. Okay. Good. I do it with this knuckle as well. Push it through with my finger. Get all the lobster meat out. Yum, all going into the bisque. Okay, so now I've done my joints. Now I'm going to do my claw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the small from the large. Pull. Now sometimes when you pull, you'll get the other half, the part of the claw right in here, other times not. So that is usually inside. And then this is where, unless your fingernail is going to take it out, and mine's not going to work for that, that's where you'll take the picker and just go in and clean that part out. So I have my little part of the claw, which is going to go into the bisque. Now, these claws were pretty soft, not super hard, so I don't need a hammer. So I'm just going to crack it with my nutcrackers. Crack it a couple of spots. And flip it over. Crack it again. Okay. So once it's pretty well cracked, then I just twist it and snap it open. And I've got my nice big claw. Yum. Now, because I'm putting this into a bisque, now if I were eating this on my own, I would just put it in the lemon and the butter and just gobble it up. But I am actually making a bisque, which that will be my tape 2 tomorrow. But since I'm using this as a bisque, I'm just going to break it up into smaller pieces. That way everybody gets chunks of lobster in their bisque. Okay, so I have my second leg do my second leg. Again, twist, twist, nothing in there. I think I'm going to need to use the crackers on this one. This one's a little tougher. Yum. Nice big chunks. Okay. My little part to my claw. My claw itself, which this one's not so big. Oh, can't snap that one. So I have to use the nutcrackers. Again, nice piece of claw there. And I'm going to break it up, like I said. That way everybody gets chunks of lobster in their bisque. Okay, so here is the real fun part, the tail. So a lot of people get very confused about the tail to the lobster. And you can take the back fins off, and you can push these through and you can get meat out of them and eat that as well. It's not really that much, not for a bisque or whatever, but you know, as a shucker tax, it's okay. So again, we're going to twist and separate the tail from the body. Now, inside, this particular one is clean, but oftentimes when you get a lobster, you're going to see orange eggs, or you'll see green poo, I guess. But this lobster is pretty clean. Now, if it were full of the green stuff, I would just clean it off a little bit in the remnants of the water there. But we don't really have any in this one. Okay, so I've got my tail. Lengthen it out here. This is the other side with all these little swimmies. So the way that you crack the tail is you lengthen it, and I always start from the one end and squeeze, middle, squeeze, all the way down to the end. Just keep squeezing till you hear that really satisfying snap. Then you turn it over, and you turn it over, and you take one edge with one thumb, one edge with the other thumb, and you just split it. And there is your tail. Nice, full, rounded, one-piece tail. So the next thing that you do is you want to separate this part because there's a large vein that runs in between, and the vein's just, it's not going to kill you to eat it, but it's kind of like gummy and doesn't really taste very good. So we're going to take the top part of the tail and just split it right down the middle like that. And I run my thumb across to get the vein out. And then that's it. And again, I'm going to break it up into smaller pieces so everybody gets a piece for their bisque. Okay. Then again, I run my thumb along the center to get any remnants of the vein. Okay, so we're good. Now again, if I were just eating this and dipping it in butter and enjoying it, I'd probably split it into 2 or 3, pieces and dunk it in the butter and eat it. But because, again, bisque, so I'm going to actually split it in 2 like this. And then I'm going to bring it into little pieces and put it in my bowl. Okay. Now, this is my biggest pet peeve about eating a lobster. It is that whenever you go to a restaurant, and oftentimes anywhere you see people eating a lobster, you see this in the pile of the shells, the totally intact body. Now, lobster used to be $5.99 a pound. Now it's $16.99 a pound. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't waste one bite of a lobster. So there's my inside. So what I do, tap it if there's any more yuckies in there. Then again, I take my left and my right thumb and split. Got the body. Then I split again. Okay, so what happened was when I split, the body came out of the shell, and now I've got the inner skeleton. So I turn it upside down, get the internal skeleton here, the cartilage or whatever. And again, both of my thumbs, press outward, and it just breaks open. Look at all of that meat. Look how much meat people actually waste when they're eating lobster. Now, there's really no neat or clean way to do this, and a picker's not really going to help you here. So I always just use my fingernail and I just dig in. Now, there are joints in here that you can feel with your fingers, and you can just dig in there and just pull out the meat. And I'd say there's probably maybe 4 or 5 joints on each side. So I just dig in. Now, it's important to rub it with your fingers because you can get cartilage in there, and you don't want to get a bite of cartilage in your bisque. So you want to make sure you rub it really good with your fingers to get any sharp pieces of cartilage that might be lingering. Okay, so again, my joint. Look at all of that. That is a lot of lobster meat right there. Again, checking it for cartilage. We're good. Put it in my bisque. So when you are done cleaning your body, this is what your body is supposed to look like. No more meat. Nice and clean. I have previously cleaned out another body, and as you can see, there's no meat on it anymore. So that was Lobster Shucking 101. And tune in to my next video on what are we going to do with this bad boys. We're going to take this lobster meat. This was about 2 1 3/4 pound lobsters. The lobsters weren't quite 2 pounds. And that's about as much meat as I got there in that bowl. So my guess is probably a poundish worth of lobster meat. Okay, so tune into my next video on creating the lobster bisque.